Welcome back here, folks. My name is Tom Battinger. His name is Ryan Bailey. And here we are getting into the fourth game of our first match here, the grand finals for the Smite Console League Summer.
Man, it was all AstralAuthority through the first two games. Then RvL bounces back and looks really, really good in that last one. So Astral this time, this is their first time getting the first pick slot. And I wonder how that's going to change their picks and bans. Maybe they will try and prioritize that Chernobog.
Yeah, well, no, it's going to be banned out.
That's fine, too.
Astral take him off the board. RvL will be getting a chance to look at some picks and bans here. Do you continue what Astral was doing as far as bans is concerned earlier, or do you switch the plan?
I think you're switching at least a little bit. I think that Astral's going to try and get Artemis or Odin in this spot. You can basically guarantee yourselves one of those, or Osiris. I expect that RvL will continue to ban Osiris. That would very much surprise me if they leave that open, and I think Astral would first pick Osiris should it be open.
Yeah, Osiris has been really, really strong for Astral in lieu of the Odin that Wolves hasn't been able to get, and here still not going to be able to get that one. Going to be banned out by RvL. Astral, on the other hand, banned the Zhang Kui.
So now it is either Artemis or that Athena you could pick up here. You could also get Osiris. One of those three for sure. RvL cannot ban all of those. They're going to ban Osiris. Interesting. I think that, well, it depends. Because I think the obvious thing to do, if Osiris were just the best god all the time and everyone would want to play him, then you ban something like Athena, then you make RvL choose, or Astral choose between Artemis and Osiris, then you take the other one. But I don't think that RvL is thinking of Osiris as a top two worthy pick for them. It's just that Wolves has been decimating them with it. So if you let that happen, Astral will just take Artemis, say, all right, take Odin if you want. You're not going to be as good with it as we would. And then you're kind of lost that picks and ban as is. So it feels weird, but RvL is somewhat forced into giving up that Osiris.
Artemis goes for the first pick, and now RvL with two selections to go. DineOhSaw's kind of jacked. Didn't realize that. RvL have two choices now.
Could go for Zeus again for that man, Fly. Giannis has been available all set long.
Yeah, what's up?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. He's a really good god.
Aggro is very passionate about Giannis.
Yeah, you should pick him if you're good with him.
Like all the time.
Yeah, it literally doesn't matter what your team comp is or what their team comp is.
Well, Giannis does things that no other character in the entire game of Smite does.
What is that, Tom?
Why are you gonna do me like that? He walks through walls. I mean, that's a valid.
I was set. You.
It was a valid point of analysis.
You stepped into the plate. I lobbed the softball, and then you got mad at me for throwing it at you.
Yeah, give me a real answer. Let's try this again. Giannis does things that other guys
Zeus is the
don't
pick
do.
for RvL, so no Giannis for them. Though still could be for AstralAuthority. And there's that Geb once more for DineOhSaw. That was banned in the second phase during the last two games. This was picked early on by RvL in game one of this set, but obviously that one didn't go their way. This is just good protection for the Zeus, and Khepri doesn't seem to be as favored by RvL. That's much more of an NA flavor.
Yep.
So Geb can do the same sort of thing, but something that RvL's more used to playing with.
Astral only have the Hunter, so they have a couple of options available. They could look towards the mid lane.
What do you think they'll pick there, Tom? Agni?
I don't know. I'd like to
Raijin?
see. The Agni was fantastic. I like the Agni more than the Raijin. With the Thor setup, a whole slew of options come to mind. Even the Thoth guy. Thor was the combo that Astral took to bring them to the finals versus Flashpoint. We'll see if they'll look to repeat that. But the Khepri, as you said, the North American flavor, that will be the selection for Inbound. The guy on your screen in the very colorful hat.
Should be a pretty interesting lane matchup, because if Khepri goes for the Abduct first onto someone that Geb can shield, that will stop that, and then Kepri's dash will be down, making him a pretty easy target. But Geb often can't bring that extra bit of damage that you need in order to kill a low health target right at the right time, and you can kind of end up being in an awkward position when someone receives that Scarab's Blessing. So Khepri again for Inbound. Is RvL here? They've got a couple options. Wouldn't surprise me if they go for something that for Predators that give him some sort of pressure. I think I'm going Cucullin here if I'm RvL. Giving Predators another comfort pick. He already did the Hercules once, got crushed. So that one's not out, but not that I'm not that worried about it if I'm RvL. I think that he hasn't been able to play Cucullin all day long. I think that's the direction I would go.
I don't mind seeing the Hercules. I don't mind seeing the Hercules here because I think it got crushed in the context of a different composition and a different world that Astral was doing. That's when they were bringing out the Osiris.
Sure.
Cerberus is going to be selected here, and that'll undoubtedly go to the hands of Predators. And again, this is a fine pick. He did well on it. I just think that whether it's Cucullin or Hercules, I think we can both agree that I would have rather seen that than the
Cerberus.
Cerb.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but this does allow RvL to ban out any bad lane matchups for Cerberus. Maybe they're worried that Wolves is going to go back to the Loki that he tried yesterday, and without Cerberus there to shut it down, that's basically the best lane matchup you can get against the Loki.
Deal.
That if they go for something else, that allows Wolves to go for Loki, and then they're scared of that. But
yeah.
I don't disagree with you. I still think that I would have much preferred to see them go for the Cucullin in that spot. And keep in mind, this composition of Mercury Athena has been open again and again for Astral, where they looked dominant, and I'm surprised that this isn't the opportunity to go for it. I mean, maybe you don't want to pick Mercury into Geb because you're de-incentivized to go crit against Geb's passive, where he doesn't take as much damage from crit. I don't know. I just feel like that is something that Astral came across, something that RvL clearly struggled with. Predators clearly struggled with understanding his limits up against an Athena composition, and they haven't gone back to it, which really surprises me.
Ratatasker banned out here. RvL take care of Raijin and Hebo, and the Rat and Serket will be banned out. Serket, of course, was the god of choice for Rapio in game number 3. So Team RvL now, Zeus, Geb, and Cerberus. They still need a hunter. They still need a jungle, unless they do something very wonky. Astral, on the other hand, they have their jungle and their hunter. They need a mid lane and a solo, unless they do something wonky. I think these two first halves are very, very, very clear cut. We've had a number of characters that can flex different positions and be ambiguous and throw you off. Everybody knows where everybody's going. There's no secrets here.
Nope.
This is just we're going. They want to get the game real quick.
Yes, exactly. They understand what has happened in these last few games, and they're trying to make their necessary adjustments and think that they aren't trying to trick anybody anymore.
Yeah.
This is just, we think we're going to beat you outright with this sort of composition, which I can always respect as a competitor. That, you know, you can predict it all you want. We're just going to do it anyways and beat you with it. So
yeah,
good luck. And I love that sort of mentality here for RvL and Astral. Is Cucullin this time for Wolves is a really good pick, very similar to what that Osiris can bring, his early game pressure, that great dive potential, and the Discordia this time around. Again, Giannis, Thoth, both on the table, but I guess that's not exactly what oBoronic wanted.
I think it's one of those things. Where maybe he just hasn't played Giannis recently, right? Maybe he's just been playing more Discordia.
Didn't he play it earlier this tournament?
He did, and it wasn't numero uno.
Yeah. I don't know.
So you know, it's one of those things where, like, game number 1 and game number 2, I flat out didn't like the draft, and they still won anyway. Things just changed on the battlefield there.
Yeah.
X's and O's only go so far.
Robin, the last pick for RvL. If you would have told Rapio during Spring Split that he was getting last pick Robin, he would have been heads over heels, but he'll still be doing that. He still got overhead kick on this selection, and still will be doing great work with it. There's a signature pick for Rapio.
Yeah, it definitely is. He's always looked good on the Robin. Definitely can carry a game. That was groan-worthy. I'm just kidding.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
The head over heels.
He does that with the overhead kick. Yeah, that was good.
That was almost as good as Astral Saturday.
They got here, didn't they?
Oof. Yeah, I guess so. They just barely made it. RvL here has been dominating the entire tournament until the grand finals. Astral stumbled their way in here, and RvL just weren't ready for them in game number 1. And game number 2, they still weren't. I think game number 2, they were ready, and Astral were just on fire. Game number 1, not ready. Game number 2, Astral just played better. Game number 3, RvL came through, took the victory. Game number 4, big question marks and big, heavy answers as well. RvL lose, we start over, and we do another best of 5 here. Whereas if RvL win, then we go on to a game number 5, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens after that. I mean, that still has the potential for a best-of-5 bracket reset. So
yeah.
RvL knows that they have some leeway here. I mean, this isn't do or die for them. AstralAuthority, they've got potentially 2 games left if RvL were to win the next 2. So pressure still feels like it's on Astral, but it is starting to carry over. Like, where is that RvL from the other day? Certainly we saw in that last game 3, so I expect that we might see it again here in game 4.
RvL certainly have to, I think, return to bottle that lightning that they found yesterday, and the whole summer split, and the spring split, and the spring land. What I'm getting at is, I don't think it's that difficult for RvL to return to form. I think it's more difficult for Astral to stay at the level they're playing at now over the course of the end of this best of 5 and the potential bracket reset than it is for RvL just go, yeah, we just won like crazy yesterday. We can do it again.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I do think that Astral has still. I swear, if they lose this game, it's so easy in my mind to just go straight back to that game 1 composition of the Athena. Pick your solo laner that has aggression. Pick your jungler that can get there quickly, whether it be Thor, Ratatosk, or Mercury, whatever you want to pick. And then just camp Predators again and see if it works a second time around, because they still haven't gone back to that same sort of strategy. And that surprises me because it really did seem to throw RvL for a loop. We'll see, though. I mean, they may not need to do that right now. If they can get the bracket reset right now, then that's multiple different options they can throw at RvL in the next best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, they've got choices. There are certainly choices. There are certainly different thought processes. That's one of the benefits of having this best of 5 and the potential bracket reset. I was talking to some people outside and, breaking down the difference between a simple best of 5 and best of 3. You have this, and I want you to touch on this as a player as well. Coming to the grand finals is very different than the other matches that we've seen, because best of 5s, I don't want to call it a throwaway game, but you can kind of go a little bit nuts. You've got one game that you don't have to win, especially if you've already kind of taken that first step. So these are a little bit looser and a little bit more chaotic, I think, than best of 3s.
They are, and they also tend to lend themselves towards those land metas where you're seeing Osiris band away from Astral. I mean, that is something that you usually see in a best of 3. It gives you plenty more time to adjust, and the reason that players tend to like them is because it tends to show who the better team is over an extended period of time. Whatever team can find more viable strategies against the other, or really shut down what one team wants to do. I don't remember ever playing in a best of 5. I'm pretty sure all the LAN performances I had were in best of 3s. But I can imagine, I mean, we had lots of game 1 victories, and in games 2 and 3 they would fall apart, and I really wish we could have had a game 4 to turn it around and realize what the mistakes were.
Well, the finals were usually best of 5s.
I know. I didn't make any finals. Thanks for pointing that out, Tom.
I was just...
Were you now?
Yeah. I was just reminding folks at home the format. We usually do best of 3s until the finals, which are best of 5s. So you said you've... how many best of 5s have you played?
0. 0 best of 5s. How many best of 3s have you played in, Tom?
Graham Hadfield joined here by Aggro Bailey.
Yeah, I'm doing your best Savage impersonation. 0 best of 3s is your answer, by the way.
You're right. I have. I've never.
In our best of 5 playtest we played the other day, you went a combined 3 in a million. So
Listen, I was playing out of role. They made me play Hunter. They made me play Hunter.
Hey, you started it, brother.
My support was Fish.
And he did it well. He did a pretty good job.
He did. You weren't supposed to say that.
You did not do that.
I did fine in the jungle. There's Ovrin, by the way, chat's favorite. She's going to be coming through. She's got a special delivery, actually, here for Vapor's Coast. Hoping to...
Whoa, is that favoritism, though? I mean, this might be the differentiating factor. If he pops off here, then Ovrin's complicit.
Uh-oh, chat. You know how you get Ovrin back?
How's that?
You ask for codes in chat. Don't do that. She's actually going to come hit me on the stage.
She actually will. I hope that it isn't playing in the loudspeakers out there, because you're going to be in some trouble otherwise.
She's got the boots, and she's got the codes, and she's got the juice box here for RvL. RvL hoping their Hunter can sort of get back some of that juice that he had over the weekend and at all of his lands. Can he do it in the finals is the question. One of the first big performances that we saw out of Vapor's Coast was in a very important game that sent actually Bobby's team to the World Championship. It was Vapor's Coast that sent Myth Gaming there? No?
Nope. That was the second-seeded team. They were in the first-seeded Enix team, and they penta-killed against Obey Alliance at the time.
Right, that was Mr. Turtle playing Kuzenbo.
Yeah, it was Mr.
That was
Turtle
funny.
playing Kuzenbo.
Yeah, Mr. Turtle playing Kuzenbo.
Yeah.
So we've got the poll results here, and I will get these correct, unlike the past 2 things I've gotten incorrect. So Team RvL, they've got 64% of the vote, and 36% for AstralAuthority.
Way to figure that one out, Tom. Mental math, nice and quick.
Yeah, I mean 64%. You subtract that from 100, it's 36.
Easy peasy for my co-caster here on the desk. Way to work, my friend.
So who's your player to watch here for AstralAuthority? Because previously we watched Wolves take it. You think it's still Wolves?
Wolves. If Astral's going to win this game, it's because Wolves continues to do Wolves stuff. I don't know that Astral can win without Wolves doing this kind of stuff, because even when oBoronic had really good performances, games 1 and 2, the 2 games that Astral won. But if Predators is huge and the duo lane from RvL continues to look as good as they have, I don't think that just one lone mage is going to be able to take down everyone else that's coming at him. Whereas Wolves can't. Wolves, being a solo laner, can take on multiple members, and I think he's got to be the guy.
Yeah, he looks ready.
This is Wolves all the time.
This is actually, yeah, I'm kind of joking around, but yeah, this kind of is Wolves.
Yes, see, the calm, cool slaughter. Like, that just like, he's chilling and he's killing all of you.
The slaughter sloth. That's what we get out of here. One of my favorite was, you didn't like that one.
I wasn't ready for it. That's all I'll say about that.
One of my favorite interactions with players was a long time ago. Wolves used to play with Transonics, who also historically very quiet player.
Yes.
And I remember, it was my job to get these guys to like loosen up. I'm always messing around with it. So I'm like, all right, talk to me. Like, come on, do an interview. And they're like, no. And then finally, Wolves was like, fine. And I was like, all right, man, you've been historically very quiet. What do you have to say? And he was just like, I let my gameplay do the talking and walked off camera.
I love it. And you know what?
You know what the quote actually was?
He's right.
He was like, I don't have to say much when I play the way I do, I think was the exact quote. And he just walked off camera. And you got to respect that sort of like swagger, that mentality.
He mic dropped you, like his first interview ever, and he like, one question, done.
Yeah, and I was just sitting there like, well,
thanks for joining us.
We're going to cut to a brief break. We're going to get game number 4 on the way very soon. Stay tuned. We got more Wolves. We're back at it again, folks. Game number 4 of our best of 5 is on the way. AstralAuthority versus Team Rival. The Europeans have come in very, very hot, but unfortunately, they have looked pretty cold at the beginning of this set. 2-1 so far, Astral leading.
I was worried you were about to do the Vaporish Coast tweet impersonation with the "We're back," and I was really concerned for a second. But we made it through.
Why? I'm unfamiliar, actually.
So am I. Rival just won that last game 3, and can they bounce back here in game 4? They've got a lot of their signature picks. The Zeus for Fly, the Geb for DineOhSaw, the Robin for Rapio, but Astral's got a lot of their favorite picks as well.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in the tank. Astral 2, if they win this one, we're going to a bracket reset. Tully and Finch, bring us the game.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ryan. It is going to be Finch and Tully here moving into game 4 between Astral and Rival. Astral got those first 2 wins, but Rival looked dominant in game 3. I think it was less than 20 minutes they got that victory, and now trying to keep from getting the bracket reset.
It's going to be important because the momentum now back in the European side. It was Astral winning the first 2. Rival sneaking away a third, so keeps this best of 5 alive for the moment. Astral just need to win 1 more. And with this kind of composition, they could look to exploit some of these side lanes with the global pressure from Layers.
It could certainly be the idea if they want to try and play around Layers. He didn't go with the blink the way that Rapio did, has those beads to keep himself a little bit safer, worried about some of the control coming out from Rival, but wouldn't be surprised if we see him get out to a good start. He's been a little bit hot and cold here. When they were winning those first 2 games, he was integral to that success, right? He was on fire, but in game 3, a few questionable choices, and Astral ends up falling. Certainly not all laying it at the feet of Layers there, but he's so important to this team when they do well.
And not going blink on a Thor is not that bad of an idea. You have so much mobility anyway between your ultimate and your hammer, but by not going blink for Rapio, that's basically the staple choice. Or by going blink, rather, is the staple choice for a Robin, simply because you have so much damage mitigation with your ultimate, being able to overhead kick away from some of this action. So Rapio making his presence in the right side felt as he strips away the blue buff, but now making his presence with the mid.
Player's able to come drop the blue for his soul laner as well. And look at that great free poke Wolves able to get just with those basic attacks. Forced out quite a few hits from that Chalice from Predators. He's down to just 1, whereas Wolves still has the 5 potions and the Chalice fully stacked, and Rage coming in, plus Layers lying in the wings. They might early on want to put some pressure on the Predators. And that's kind of been their game plan so far, has been to just slow him down. Predators not gotten to have a good game yet.
And the thing is, Predators electing not to even go pick up the blue buff. He doesn't have it around his waist, and it's now faded away. The experience and the gold goes the way of Rapio for him. And Predators without blue buff doesn't have the ability to stay in this laning phase as long as he would normally be expected to.
Yeah, this could be a little bit tougher for him as he's going to continue to get pressured out by this Cullen, but as long as he doesn't get too much extra attention, we can trust Predators to remain relevant as we check in with our duo lane. Looks like the Hunters took the red buffs this time. Vaporish Coast and Cyprexa both have those, as opposed to the mid laners. And so far, it looks like the clear might be going a little bit in favor of RvL, but Rapio's on his way.
Keep in mind the blink is present. He's looking for the play. The double blink right onto Cyprexa.
That timing was disgusting. This should be first blood. Vapor's Coast is the one that grabs it. Now inbound in a whole heap of trouble. And Astral have got to start to expect that. Rapio loves to make these early duo lane ganks.
It was a delayed rotation because look at this. 225, that's when speed buff comes back up. If the presence is there from Rapio on the left, that means his speed buff is a little bit exposed, and there was a very small window where Layers could have elected to look for the invade, but instead he goes for his own speed buff, allowing Rapio to confirm it for himself.
And this is what it looks like when RvL are on comfortable picks, right? It looks like Rapio and DineOhSaw perfectly, like to the second, timing their abilities with the blink in, right into the knock-up, right into the follow-up damage as Rapio gets pressured out a bit over here on the solo side. They want to try and defend this blue buff because Wolves and Layers are both here. Rapio has it pulled. Layers not going to give up on it. Hammer to contest from range, but Fly on the backside gets some good damage.
Chain lightning allows it detonate, and Layers just like that, already less than 50% health. Wolves is going to share this experience with Layers, allowing the Thor to hit level 4, but that means that Predators is going to get a lot of solo farm for himself. But no, he's ignoring a whole wave to potentially steal away this blue buff.
Well, Layers is low,
That's
but Wolves
risky.
is right here, and it is indeed. He at least forced them off the blue buff for a moment, but Wolves wants to keep this one going. Layers is right here trying to contest. He has Zerga Barrage, stun land, forces the beads out from Layers, but not able to get the kill or the buff.
Okay, so he did force the purification beads, but if no one from RvL kills Layers in the next 150 seconds,
yes,
that play from Predators was not worth it. The experience per minute there could have been so much higher by getting that wave that was going under the tier 1 solo tower from Rivals.
Instead of just kind of bullying or trying to around that blue buff. But he's not the only one that had a bit of an experience deficit there. Fly made the rotation over to solo, but during that time, oBoronic pushed the wave up under the tower. Witten grabbed the red buff by himself, whereas Vapor's Coast and I believe DineOhSaw grabbed the red, so Fly didn't get the red buff and missed out on some of that wave.
It's a race to level 5 between these junglers, and Rapio hit it first, making a slight rotation to the left side. Is he going for the gank? Yes, he is. He ignores those oracles, but he's walking over a couple of blue wards.
Yeah, Astral might recognize this is going on. Inbound moving forward, but not really aggressive as Cyprexa. Blinking from DineOhSaw for the Shockwave Cataclysm. Sets up Mystic Rush for the dunk. The root does come out from the trap, but it doesn't matter. Rapio, another successful gank on duo.
Abusing this dual lane before the Scarab's Blessing out of Inbound's Capri. Very timely, efficient ganks from Rapio. Both the kill and the assist. The first blood actually went the way of Vapor's Coast. The second kill goes the way of Rapio. And look at this action, though. Wolves negating the Stygian Torment with the knockup of Unult.
Yeah, able to get away by dropping the ultimate and drops the War Cry. Now he's in that rage form. Gonna come look to strip away the blue buff. A little bit of help coming out from Layers as well, who's helping to limit the jungle. Layers can't get over to duo in time to keep up with Rapio, but he can repeatedly harass Predators, even leaving the small camp still there.
Take a little bit more damage than he's expecting, avoiding that paralyzing spit. Wolves getting a good advantage in this solo lane thus far, as Predators can't really be as effective as he normally is expecting to. Goes for the shoes of the Magi, wanting to get a little bit more penetration for himself, which is good with the conjunction of that Ghastly Breath. The constant protection shred is going to add up.
Going in favor here so far of Wolves, but it could turn around. Layers, a little bit of trouble, does get slowed, but the hammer there, a nice root, means he can't get too far, but no real follow-up remaining between Rapio and Fly. They just force him to teleport away to the hammer. But this has sort of been the response, right, from Astral, is to pressure Predators, whereas Rapio's putting pressure in duo lane. Whoever gets further ahead is the one that's going to come out the victor of those two different ideas.
And normally you want to be able to put pressure onto this, the duo lane first, because that's where the Gold Furies are more impactful anyway.
Right.
You can gank a solo lane or all you want, but they're still going to do solo lane things by zoning, by being that buffer to allow your hyper carries the safety that they need.
Wolves has got to recognize that Rapio's here on this side of the map because Rapio just bumped into Layers in the jungle, so they are going to fall back. We haven't had a chance to talk much about these mid laners who've been a little quiet so far. It's still early, but neither one electing to go with Boots or the Maiden's Blessing. It's the Warlock Staff Rush for Fly and the Soul Reaver coming out for oBoronic.
A best of 5 really just kind of evolves within the meta that
Absolutely.
these two teams have, and that's kind of been the case in the mid lane with these two different item selections. going for more of a tanky style as Fly, recognizing that he might be the primary focus. He doesn't have a dash, a jump, any real escape, so he needs that help from the Warlock staff to at least buy himself another second to maybe get off one more charge of his Chain Lightning, one more charge of his Lightning Storm to make his Detonate hit a little bit harder, to allow his teammates to come clean up, to maybe allow DineOhSaw that extra wiggle room to apply the Stone Shield on the Zeus.
Anything to maybe allow the Zeus to get off a few more instances of damage as Rapio looks to strip away the purple buff from Astral's duo lane. He's showing a lot of attention here towards Cyprexa, but not actually going for a gank. Maybe he is. Cyprexa's staying right at that tower line, though, so there's not much opportunity.
I think that he got spotted over the ward. Rapio, though, still thinking about it as he's positioned himself as deeply to the purple buff wall as he humanly can. DineOhSaw will pick up that purple buff. Red buff. Full collapse out of Rival.
Oboronic has got to retrieve 50-meter fly, able to avoid the Mystic Rush, but walks right back into everyone, still surviving all the damage, and Layers comes in on the DineOhSaw. DineOhSaw still alive with the Cataclysm. Oboronic gets the Scarab's Blessing. Somehow no one's died. The blink gets DineOhSaw out for now, but Cyprexa from downtown gets the shot.
Good shot from Cyprexa, cleaning up the gap, being a little too overzealous there for that red buff invade. Good disengage. Also from Oboronic, using that cloud to his fullest advantage. It really eluded Rapio that thought he was still in range for that Prada onslaught. He missed a lot of abilities with Rapio.
Yeah, I think he really expected Oboronic to just be hightailing it towards the tier 2 tower and tried to cut off that escape path. And to be fair to Rapio, if he doesn't go that way, worst case scenario, he's running back to the other 3 teammates in your mind. It just doesn't end up working out for them as some good jukes come out from Oboronic. They survive the gank and even find a return kill off Layers' dunk back in, and then the damage onto DineOhSaw.
Now, Rival did strip away the red buff, so at least they get something for losing DineOhSaw. Now, whether or not that's worth at the end of the day, I would consider it to be a little successful. It's a level 6 Geb that has a very short respawn timer, and AstralAuthority didn't really go for any secondary objective, whether it was Oracles, Mid-Harpies, or even the Gold Furies. So Rival sneaking away a red buff, denying extra damage for Oboronic's build, which is very aggressive, going for the Soul Reaver rush, trying to get that extra burst under himself.
Oracle's going to go the way of Team Rival. Maybe not with the route from long range coming through from inbound. Can't quite strip it away, so it looks like those are going to be split. But they want to go aggressive into the jungle. Up in the air is Layers right now, looking for a target with the Anvil of Dawn. Can't find Fly or Vapor's Coast. Does get Cataclysm in response, and the Sun's going to come down on top. Fly with the Geb shield is able to retreat, but we can't say the same for Inbound, who gets sent back to base.
Smart positioning from Fly, going back a little bit closer to Astral. Rapio cleaning up Oboronic. Hammer goes through as Rapio jumps over. He's going for DineOhSaw, though, and gets cleaned up.
Well, at least Vapor's Coast falls to MOR Wolves, but some nice kills. In fact, a double now for Wolves. He rotates in and finds Predators as well as the kill onto Vapor's Coast. Such a big impact from the solo laner.
2 for 3 at the end of the day. It's AstralAuthority that are not getting the clean side of the engagement. Missing that Anvil of Dawn, so crucial. Being able to jump over at the very last half second. Vapor's Coast repositions himself. Fly actually goes a little bit more south once he's the primary target to use Vapor's ultimate as his little safety bubble.
That's right. He's able to sort of dance in those suns and get away from everyone else because they don't want to be inside that dangerous area. But yet again, the big difference between these teams is the experience over here in the solo lane. Predators with this Cerberus, with a little bit of extra attention from Layers, and Wolves' aggression on this Cucullin have early on gotten the advantage, even getting some farm while Predators was dead after that last fight. Wolves is going to rejoin him, but he's continuing to bully.
I like the Onculate being able to just disrupt the Ghastly Breath, which is a channeled ability.
Layers is here again.
Yeah, trying to make the defense on that blue buff. Predators thought he could kind of walk away with that one. Layers looking for a gank.
He's going to drop the Anvil of Dawn. They land the stun. Predators appears not have the jump or Stygian Torment. Another easy kill for Wolves, who's on a killing spree. It's rough over here in the solo lane for Rival.
That Breastplate of Valor, not enough for this level 11 Cerberus to buy himself an extra second, and that allows Layers to get the level 10 marker, catching up to Rapio. And there's something about Predators and the enemy blue buff that just keeps seeing just seems to magnetize him a little bit deeper into the thick of things where he doesn't need to go. Ignoring the wave about 5 minutes ago to contest the blue buff, not worth it. And then there as well, you clear the wave, sure, but if you don't know where Layers is, are you going to survive against the gank? You always have to worry about the potential jungle gank, and you make the decision of like, if I see the enemy jungle, do I survive? If no, don't even bother going for the blue.
I'm right there with you, Tully, and to be fair to Predators, that's how he always plays. And apparently he plays that way when he's up 3 levels and when he's down 3 levels, so at least he's consistent as Pyromancer goes the way of AstralAuthority. This time, though, he's been getting punished for it heavily, basically all set long.
That's where you got to find the balance, though,
yes.
right? Like, when he's successful, it's because he's already like 2 to 3 levels ahead with the Hercules, but when he's 2 to 3 levels behind on the Cerberus, it's not looking pretty. And speaking of not looking pretty, Cyprexa with his 3rd death yet again for Rapio.
Yeah, Rapio's getting these ganks even when Vaporous Coast isn't even here as he shuts down the Artemis. Wolves going to dive for the kill, or rather for the tier 1 tower. Without that extra damage, Predators now in some trouble. A new set of abilities for Wolves, and that should be more than enough for the ultimate. Predators falls yet again.
And Wolves not even really taunting. He's just kind of smiling about that one. I'm sure someone else from his team was being the hype man, and Wolves just like, oh yeah, I did kill him. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I'm just having a good game.
Yeah, I mean, the way he looks is just always cool, calm, and collected. He lets his game speak for his actions. Wolves calculating that very accurately, even being able to take a couple tower shots, realizing that that solo tower was about 2 more basic attacks remaining until crumbling, and still having the presence of mind to be able to chase it down for the kill.
Now he's here for the Gold Fury, which is down to half HP already. DineOhSaw and Fly are nearby. Blink Cataclysm keeps the Gold Fury leash, but Astral are able to confirm it after all. The Apple goes through and finds no one, but Layers is the one in the air, and he wants to land on Rapio. 2-man stun. Geb Shield does keep Rapio alive, but DineOhSaw falls to the hammer over the wall. Layers is nuts.
What an accurate hammer toss, and more importantly, not teleporting to the hammer, which would have put him heavily out of position. Great play from Astral, confirming the Gold Fury, avoiding death, and even taking out one in DineOhSaw.
Yeah, MOR Wolves, man. He's just the problem here. Able to not only find the tier 1 and the solo kill, but come facilitate on the Gold Fury. A great play from Layers on the back end to find the kill. Astral now about 3,000 gold out in front here, 14 minutes in. They've got the experience to go along with it right at 3,000.
It's not that big of a lead, but it's something to still continue the action. Wolves, though, now in a 1v2. Doesn't confirm the blue buff steal. Gets knocked up with the Stygian Torment, and the disengage is on.
Hammer gets some good damage on the Predators, but with that Rage transformation, Wolves no longer a viable target. He's able to fall back without any trouble. Inbound here in the jungle, but it's just DineOhSaw, so nothing much going to be happening here. But Layers been playing well for them. I highlighted at the beginning in games 1 and 2, when he's playing well, the team looks better. He's looking great here in game 4.
Rapio's looking pretty good in game number 4 as well, being able to put a lot of attention onto Cyprexa, not allowing a lot of breathing room for this Artemis that's trying to rush crit. Not going to go for the Executioner, the Icavile, or the Chin Size. Wants to abuse some of these non-tanky targets.
So glaring, though, how far ahead Wolves is right now on this Kakullan. That's the real difference, because early on we sort of highlighted the 2 different strats from the teams, that there was going to be extra aggression on Cyprexa in duo from Rapio and extra aggression onto Predators from Layers and Wolves. And so far, those 2, what's really worked out has been the pressure on Predators. Yes, Cyprexa's died 3 times, but he's still very relevant in terms of how close he is to coast.
He just finished the Rage now, so once these team fights start rolling around, he's going to try to get that 30% crit transformed into 40%.
He's behind the tier 2.
Wolves is casually proxying between tier 2 and the Phoenix, 4 levels ahead of Predators. My man's is farming.
And this is how you can have pressure without rotating from the solo lane as well. When he's going that far in and Astral have to rotate people over, that's how you can start spreading your impact around. But look at Rapio. There's a fight in mid lane as well. This is going to happen on 2 different fronts. Wolves tries to go into the tier 2 tower in mid, but can't find it there. Meanwhile, Rapio was looking for aggression in duo, but had to give up on it.
Had to give up on it, considering that Cyprexa sees it from a mile away. He was hiding behind the tier 1 and the tier 2 tower. Gold Fury not due to respawn for another 2 minutes, but RvL still wants some action around this Gold Fury.
Yeah, there was no fight anywhere. A little ahead of myself there as everyone decides to just kind of put on the brakes. There's been a ward there in that position. Not sure if it's fallen off. No, it's still there. So Cyprexa should recognize Rapio was nearby.
It's a red ward.
Oh, there was a blue one in between earlier, but it's fallen away by now. So Cyprexa might not recognize this is happening. The stun doesn't land, but the stuns do come out. A gets to immune some of the damage, and now with Inbound here to support, this could be trouble for Coast.
Oh, Coast trying to get away, but the unruly magic sealing his fate. The apple from downtown, he had to blink away from it. I don't think it would have found the kill at the end of the day, but it certainly would have hurt Rapio.
But maybe Wolves can. He's going to dive this tower, knowing that he has Layers here in support. The ultimate is going to set up Layers to take down Rapio, and Fly drops the ult to zone everyone away. Wolves gets the perfect Scarab's blessing, but nothing can save Layers. Predators is going to take Thor out of here.
Unfortunately, Bobby could only save one, not both. He chose the higher level target in Wolves, allowing Layers to die there. Working on a magical defense item now. Probably going to be another on-kill A potentially, as the rest of RvL walk away cleanly after only losing one. Takes out 2 members from RvL and a tier 1 tower.
Yeah, this aggression from RvL in the duo lane did not quite bear fruit. A great job from Cyprexa to survive the initial gank attempt coming out from Rapio. He had to use all his relics, a ton of cooldowns, but surviving was all he needed. Inbound showed up along with oBoronic, and they turned that one around. Predators now trying to go aggressive. They do find Inbound and pull him right back in, so a nice return kill from RvL, but now Wolves is here.
Wolves is trying to find the cleanup crew. Predators in a whole lot of trouble, but he just narrowly avoids both the root and the dash, finding the stun, forcing the defensive ultimate and the beats. Rapio on the chase, but without his Mystic Rush.
DineOhSaw's in a little bit of trouble. Someone needs to get Wolves off him as Layers goes up looking for the dunk. DineOhSaw certainly a juicy target. Not going to be able to find him. The hammer's good though, and he gets him with the spin to win. Sends DineOhSaw back to base one more time.
Good, clean pick there. Making sure that Cyprexa would survive by stunning out Rapio, and then immediately going into the sky, getting the guaranteed kill onto DineOhSaw. If he really wanted to, I think Layers could have potentially looked to chase down Rapio, but with Mystic Rush coming up very quickly, I don't think that kill would have happened at the end of the day.
Now AstralAuthority positioning around this Pyromancer's holy, and they want the neutral objective. Fly is nearby, has the ultimate, but he can't come over here and contest this one. Yet another objective going the way of Astral to add to their already substantial lead. They're up about 4,000 gold or so, even a little bit less really at 3,400 and at 2,400 experience. So Astral not as much in the driver's seat as you might have thought, but definitely looking good.
At 19.5 minutes, it's very difficult to really see if this lead is enough to drive Astral into the Titan room anytime soon. Bobby pulling it one, DineOhSaw receiving the pain.
There's no way for him to stand, not up against 4 members. It's just Rapio here in support as Gold Fury gets pulled. They have Coast, they have Fly if they want to try and contest, but the pings are coming out. They know where this Robin is. They continue to pull the Gold Fury in. The wall's going to force Coast back out, and Fly, it's all on him.
They're trying to make the play happen. The Suicide Detonate actually steals it away. Mystic Rush over the top. oBoronic trying to escape, but he won't be the victim there. Rapio takes him out.
Predators is going to end up having to fall to set this all up, but now Coast is here to try and take down some low health targets. Double kill comes out for Rapio. Make that one a triple as Wolves has to fall back as well. Team RvL comes storming back around the Gold Fury, grabbing the objective, grabbing the kills, and evening this game out.
Where's your lead now, RvL is saying, just dropping it down. Basically even experience-wise, gold, 1,500 gold each. Barely anything to write home about.
Oh, totally.
RvL. Can they do it? Fly needs to reset this fire junk. He can't be the one tanking it for too long.
I think Wolves has recognized this, though, and that might be enough to force them off the objective. He teleported in to the tier 1 tower in mid. Coast jumps away. Cataclysm locks down Wolves for now, but Layers is here as well. RvL cannot continue to look for this FG, but they might be able to find the kill. The slow's going to land, and they're going to keep chasing.
Oh, they got Wolves down so low. Fire Giant has been forced to reset. That was such a beautiful attempt from RvL as Rapio now gets stunned down. A little bit of poke damage, not going to commit to the chase. This level 17 Robin that has a very interesting late Transcendence build. Now, stacking the Transcendence, not as important as saying to stacking a Warlock staff.
Right.
That extra 50 stacks is giving you about 750 mana, which is translating to about 22, maybe 23 physical power. But more importantly, you're getting a lot of cooldown reduction, 10% with the extra burst initially. It's a good item to have on a god that has such high scaling with the short 9-second cooldown to Prada Onslaught.
Yeah, this is not bad for him at all. That cooldown also means going to be able to get a little of those overhead kicks out a little bit more often, make him just that much safer. This is great, really, from Rapio, because as you said, the stacks aren't that terribly important. It's still decent power up front as well. He should be in a good spot to continue having a big impact here for Team RvL, who have really closed the gap. They couldn't get Fire Giant, and Wolves does a good job, along with Layers, of slowing that down, but they're essentially even. The lead between Wolves and Predators has closed, and this game is all but tied up.
This level 18 Cerberus getting stunned out, but not going to get overcommitted too heavily there. Just walks away cleanly. Tier 1 mid tower still surprisingly stands for both of these teams. You would expect a little bit of action there, but it's been mostly in the side lanes where Predators was struggling on one front and Cyprexa on the other.
Layers coming to try and defend his red buff, but not going to make it there in time. 22.5 minutes into this one. I think we're going to have our first real mid to late game where it's actually relatively even. Before this one on Rivals win, they kind of took it all at once with that big sweeping deicide in middle lane to get the win. This time, though, we might have a different story as Team RvL have fought their way back to even and want to group up around this Fire Giant. They don't want to give up any positioning here and let Astral sneak it away.
Respawn timers are going to be a lot longer, sitting at 23 minutes into the game, so any picks now are going to be much more valuable. The rest of RvL thinking about potentially pulling it eventually, but Astral is too close to allow that to happen. The amount of blinks here on RvL's side means that they can kind of force these engagements and wait for somebody to be just a hair too far away from their teammates to capitalize on. Both Predators, Rapio, and even DineOhSaw can look for a triple blink engage.
That really could get things started off in a big way and set up Fly to follow with the big damage. Because Astral's gone with the Thorns, which can return some good damage, the Sprint from Bobby along with the Meditation, but not like the Shells to try and help you out with the big burst mage damage all at once. If Fly can find that big ultimate with the setup coming out from RvL, that could potentially be the big difference maker here on this team. They're not particularly magically tanky. They have the Shogun, some Anquiles here and there, but Fly certainly has the opportunity.
And no hardware amulet, surprisingly, from Bobby to kind of spread some more magical defense all across. Not going for the Gauntlet of Thieves. It's not really his style to go for, but going for Shogun's Kusari makes a little bit of sense considering that Wolves is going to be stacking his rage with every basic attack. Cyprexa's Indians are going to be really chunking. However, there's something left to be desired, to be lacking this much magical defense against a late-game Zeus that only gets amplified further when Predators is nearby with a Ghastly Breath and Voidstone combination.
That's right. Fly, really, I feel like the spotlight's going to be on him in these fights, and he hasn't been under much pressure. He has that Warlock staff fully stacked, giving him some extra health. He's 1-0-5, has not fallen yet. Not a ton of kills yet, but plenty of damage at 10,000, and now they might even get this Pyromancer. No one around to defend. A nice win there for RvL.
A little bit of poke onto Inbound, forcing the jump from Predators a little further away. I don't think RvL recognize AstralAuthority. We're a little bit too close to their own red buff. Both oBoronic and Layers trying to secure that one. So a clean, secured objective. It's not that much gold Pyromancer, but it's a way to keep the game still balanced.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not going to like turn the tide by itself, but it is a nice win for them. This Gold Fury, though, could certainly be a nice deal for them to finish off maybe a Shaman's Ring or some other items that they could be working on, as the response from Ash is going to be to start pulling the Fire Giant.
I don't know about this. I don't know about this, Finch. It's a bait, though, because they catch out Rapio, but Bobby takes too much damage.
The Strife is pretty big for them as well, but the 50-meter Fly ultimate is off the mark. DineOhSaw has to retreat. He's too low on the left-hand side. Coast comes in the middle of 3, manages to revive with Aegis and Beads, and he has to jump away. Now it's Predators who's in the middle of blue jerseys and certainly going to end up falling. A nice stun sets him up, but Cyprexa finds the kill.
Wolves was just too busy zoning away Fly, and I was curious. I'm like, where's the Zeus? Where's the Zeus? More Chain Lightnings would have allowed RvL to close out that game, but that big, scary could call it a little too much. Rapio looking to play cleanup after Astral confirmed this, but he's not going to want to overcommit.
And such an important fight there from Astral, where they're able to sort of disjoint RvL and spread them out, as you alluded to. Fly forced to use that ultimate suboptimally. That's not the way that he wanted to put that Lightning Storm down at all. And in the end, Fire Giant goes over the way to Astral. RvL are the ones falling back, and they can spread this game open.
Fly should have been a little bit more forward. He still has both of his defensive relics available. He has the health, with the Warlock staff, so he needed to take a little bit of damage against Wolves. Sure, that's all fine and dandy as long as you're looking for those chain lightnings. Just one chain lightning detonate combo would have found multiple members from Astral. Everyone was so low.
And Rapio takes too much poke to start that fight off, too. He's a little bit too far forward himself, and that makes things a little bit difficult for them as well. Oboronic is great in that fight with the Strife, with the Unruly Magic to get some good poke off as well.
But the thing was, Bobby took so much damage from Rapio, so it was a cleanup, right? Like, Bobby had to use the Scarab's Blessing on himself. Once Vapor's Coast made that rotation, he found a beautiful double bounce onto Oboronic, forcing the Discordia to disengage. But now with Astral confirming the Fire Giant Finch, they're looking to demolish some of these Tier 2 towers.
Now we're 27 minutes in here, Tolly. Can RvL give up all of these Tier 2s and just fall back to the Phoenix? Or are they still close enough where they can take some of these fights?
I think they could still fight into this. They're only down about 2,000 gold. Fire Giant still around Astral's waist for 2.5 minutes. They have the defensive tools available. The amount of damage Fly provides for RvL is nothing to be scoffed at. So any sort of grouping from Astral needs to be a tender walk forward.
I like their defense here, Totally. The Cataclysm paired with Stygian Torment, and then 2 big AoE ultimates in the form of Lightning Storm and then the Sunbreaker from the Ho Yi on Vapor's Coast. I mean, they've got the tools here at their disposal.
The way Astral have to approach this is by looking for long-range poke to disengage. If they hard commit, they're going to get punished for it. So utilize some of that long Tectonic Rift stun to maybe apply a Strike from Oboronic, some pot shots from Cyprexa, but don't overcommit to these towers if RvL are putting on the defense. The second Fire Giant is more important than the first one with the extra structure damage.
I'm right there with you. They're really, I think you're going to need to play around Scarab's Blessing and try and bait out some of those cooldowns from RvL. If they can get RvL to overcommit onto a target, res them back up out of danger and sort of reinitiate, that'd be perfect for them, because RvL right now, if you're all around that Phoenix or around the tower and they drop those ults, I don't know how you make it back out.
It's going to be difficult, and I think AstralAuthority are going to be walking on eggshells just like that. Layer spots out Rapio, and there's the first step, popping his Mad Guy's Cloak to now look for some long-range poke. But the rest of RvL are too spread out for this engagement. Predators way too far on the right side.
Yeah, it looks like they're not really going for a full-on tower defense, not with the way they're this spread out, but maybe they're just trying to see if they can get Astral to hard commit onto the towers. They do get some good poke. They've got about 50 seconds left on to make this happen. So maybe not get a Phoenix, but they can definitely still get some towers.
Looking for the speed buff. The Strife goes over the wall. Rapio confirms the speed buff for himself, but Predators got chunked.
Yeah, a bit of a soft defense here. They're going to give up that Tier 2 tower. Wolves jumps in, and that forces back Vapor's Coast, so they can't quite defend. And that's just to sort of slow Astral down.
I thought Predators for sure was about to blink through that wall, which is why I kind of dropped there. I'm like, all right, something's about to pop off here. Predators leading the charge for RvL on the defense, but Astral going to disengage. Only 20 seconds remaining on the Fire Giant buff, not wanting to overstretch.
Yeah, and on the scale of how harmful a Fire Giant could be, that's not too bad.
Rapio just saw the back. Rapio saw the back from Layers. This could be a side sweep if they wanted to chase this down. But no, going to slow down the pace. They keep their Phoenixes alive. They're going for a clean, guaranteed Pyromancer.
Yeah, that could have easily been worse, that whole Fire Giant buff duration. So Astral patiently grab some towers, make their job a lot easier if they get another FG. But that's not game ending as we cross the 30-minute threshold and hit that true late-game threshold, really, for the first time here in this grand final set between these two squads. Now it's time to really test their mettle in these sort of prolonged engagements around FG. Who's going to be the one that can really come out on top there?
You can really cut this the tension with a knife here,
Absolutely.
Fitch. Even though there's 22 kills in 30 minutes, it feels like the pace of that was the first 20 minutes, where there was multiple Gold Furies, 2 for RvL, 1 for AstralAuthority, but it's all about this next Fire Giant. Rapio's Mad Guy's Cloak yet again getting popped, taking more damage than he would have wanted to.
He also has that Blood Forge too, so he can find a kill, get himself a little bit of extra help. Rapio trying to find a little bit of tankiness, kind of dipping his toe in that water as DineOhSaw takes a little bit of extra poke from Cyprexa. Predator's in trouble, has to jump away. Golden Apple of Discord finds him, along with the dunk from Layers. Predators does fall. Now DineOhSaw in trouble as well. The two were too far forward on their own.
Trying to make it happen in a 5-on-4 after poking out Rapio. They hard commit even further with Wolves zoning so well. Look how much health is missing. And that's not That's not a Ghost that did all that damage, Finch. That was definitely Vaporish Ghost and Fly trying to take out Wolves. RvL are still playing defense with Astral demolishing the tier 2 solo tower, trying to go for the second Fire Giant.
And still making sure they're getting the maximum amount of value out of Layers' ultimate. Sometimes in the late game, you're not always getting the most out of Anvil of Dawns and Through the Cosmos because they're so good at like ganking early on and like getting number advantages. But here in the jungle, when you have to come contest FG, it can still be strong. Now Astral have Fire Giant on everyone. They've opened up this door a little bit to now go look for the siege on the Phoenixes.
Something that F. likes to say, hesitation leads to devastation. And I'm still looking back at the play where Rapio saw Layers back behind the Fire Giant,
right,
and RvL only did a Pyromancer, didn't look for any sort of tier 1 tower dive. Like, the way Wolves tower dove Predators at the beginning of this game, or maybe towards the mid portion of this game, was perfect. It was a 1v1 calculation, and 5-on-4 with that much health on the solo tower, that would have been a clean fight, which RvL should have won convincingly.
Yeah, I'm right there with you totally, because for me it's that they haven't gotten a chance yet to really use 50-meter fly, right? It's like they've got a loaded gun and they haven't gotten a chance to shoot it yet. There hasn't been a fight where he can really get his lightning storm off or multiple chain lightnings through a fight, right? He hasn't really gotten to have the kind of Zeus impact you want.
It's still relatively early in this game, even though it's 33 minutes in, where one Phoenix Siege can change the whole momentum of the game. Fly can still look for a lot of AoE damage because Astral are kind of forced to move forward to the Titan Room if they want to close out this game, and that gives Fly a huge advantage to look for those multiple targets. Looking at builds here, Finch, I'm looking at Rapio. After the Transcendence, even going for a Blood Forge, wanting that waterfall effect, more movement speed, an extra health shield. Never a bad thing for a jungler.
Yeah, if he's able to dive on a Cyprexa or Oboronic, it'll make it that much easier for them to keep up the fight, or maybe just disengage along with overhead kicks. So he's got an extra tool at his disposal, just showing that mentality from RvL where they do want to be able to get in and get out. Magai's Cloak there for DineOhSaw as well. They're worried about some of this control to try and make it easier for them to get in and set up for Fly in the back.
Doing a 4-1 split between duo and mid. AstralAuthority sieging that left side Phoenix, strifing out Predators to apply the Soul Reaver extra bonus damage, while Layers kind of distracting them in mid.
Predators has that apple. That's going to remove him from the map. Cyprexa gets the last shot. Coast does drop his ultimate as well. Jumps away from Layers. His Anvil of Dawn, but Fly never even gets anything off. He does drop the Lightning Storm. Rapio comes in with the Mystic Rush, but it's just not enough. Wolves has the Scarab's Blessing, forces DineOhSaw away, and Layers forces him out to the right. Phoenix on left should come down.
RvL are looking to close out this set. They're up 2-1. If they win this game, it's going to force a bracket reset, Finch.
That's just going to add even more chaos here to this set. I mean, it's already been a lengthy one. We're 4 games into this best-of-5. That would mean that they'd go into another best-of-5 afterwards. Astral, Rav, Phoenix on the left. They're pushing up the minions in mid. It's a 5v3. Only Rapio, DineOhSaw, and Vaporish Ghost are here to defend.
They're looking for the middle. Phoenix, after destroying the left one, Vaporish Ghost receives the Gap Shield, but he's taking too much damage. He goes down.
Even with the Aegis, he ends up falling. DineOhSaw is next. Layers removes him. Rapio, 1v5, not gonna be enough. AstralAuthority have climbed up out of loser's bracket, reset this match. We're going to another best-of-5, and Layers is here to play.
Reset, baby, says Layers, but now it's a hard reset. The score goes back down to 0-0. Both RvL and Astral needing to win 3 games to crown themselves the Smite Console League Summer Champions.
Man, that's the console special right there. Those boys are up out of their seats. They're hollering. They're letting RvL here, right now. We're here to play. We're going into another best-of-5 here, totally. It is not going to be easy for RvL if they want to grab this victory. I remember after we did the Astral, after they won that game, set against Astral, we interviewed them, you know, we were talking to them about how excited they were about that pentakill. But I believe it was DineOhSaw who said, we haven't won this event yet. This is not over yet. They had that recognition even then, and now Astral kind of reminding them in case they forgot, it's not over.
Well, AstralAuthority came into this set very hot off of a win from Flashpoint,
right,
but now RvL are definitely warmed up. That Game 3 performance, I'm still looking at how dominant that really was. Rapio on the Circuit worked wonders. Rapio played pretty well here on the Robin as well, but I think that the team-wise weighted effort was just not impressive enough to me around these objectives. They got the Gold Fury twice, actually, but they couldn't confirm any sort of additional plays around the Fire Giant, where it was Bobby pulling the Fire Giant. They tried to bait out a play. They got a little bit too ahead of themselves when Rapio had to back, and they forced a 5-on-4 fight. Was AstralAuthority, where RvL, they conceded a 5-on-4 fight behind the Fire Giant.
Yeah, this fight here, those late game fights really did go the way of RvL, but this constant thread for me is the solo lane matchup. Wolves, I feel like, has just had way more of an impact than Predators this whole time.
The solo kill was impressive, being able to dive the tower where there were still about 2 more basic attacks remaining. Found the tower, found the solo kill immediately after. Wolves is on a whole other playing field.
He really is right now. He's just playing nuts for me. And that gets me to my question. Who's the MVP for you all? Go ahead and vote for us in that Mixer poll. It sounds like I'm making the case here for Wolves, and I think you could say it, but Layers has been right there with him, following up every time, facilitating for those leads in solo and for everyone else.
Normally, it's a lot more clear for me, at least, to decide who the MVP is, but this game, I can't even make that call.
Well, we're going to leave it up to y'all in Mixer Chat. Go ahead and vote for us now, and I'm going to go ahead and get it back over to the desk. That way we can get their thoughts.
Thanks a lot, friends. Ryan and Tom here. That one's Ryan, though. I'm Tom. See? It all works out. And it all works out if you're a North American fan. AstralAuthority bringing Smite its very first bracket reset.
Wow, it's just incredible how much better they look today in comparison to yesterday. And this game looked like it was going to be Team Rivals right away because Rapio got off to another great start. At some point, will this duo lane realize that Rapio is ganking them at the same exact time every single game?
Every game.
It's unbelievable to me that continues to work, but it ends up no harm, no foul whenever Wolves is just like, hey, we aren't losing because I won't let us. Wolves, I honestly don't care what happens during the second best of 5. There should be an option to vote for Wolves for best player at this tournament.
Yeah, I completely agree. Predators was the guide. It looks like he just said, hey, look, I'm done being the hard carry solo lane. You have this. And, hey, what a surprise. The MVP is MOR Wolves.
MOR Wolves is right, because you're going to get more Wolves in the second best of 5 that these two teams have to play. Look, Layers had a really good game. The double dunk that he had as the 2 tanks of RvL running away from Fire Giant was beautiful, but all kind of set up by Wolves frontlining, right? I mean, everything that Astral has done, where Cyprexa has looked so much better today. He's looked like a real good hunter at this level. You know, Oboronix had his great games. All of it has been enabled by Wolves getting leads. And so RvL now is going to go back to the drawing board. I don't hear them, but I can promise you what they're going to do is, how do we stop Wolves? And I don't really have an answer for them. I really don't.
At this point, it's almost like a sponsorship brought to you by Wolves.
Yeah.
This guy's just coming out and just tearing it up. And really, I mean, sometimes that's the analysis. Sometimes we dive deep. We bring out the telestrator. We bring out the tools. We bring out the graphic. Sometimes you just go, Wolves is better than everybody right now. And that's the whole story. And realistically, that is even more difficult as RvL, because like we said, I mean, we could break down X's and O's and go through your notebook and get a strategy, but if the case is just one player is having a transcendent day, how do you fight against that?
Look, if I knew the answer to beating Wolves, I'd probably still be playing, because I could never beat this guy. I mean, he's always been incredible. Even when we beat his team, Wolves was doing things that made it very difficult to do so. So, I mean, the Odin bans, he's already beating you with everything else. How much worse would it be with the Odin? I think that I'm probably exploring that option if I'm RvL, maybe taking some other picks away from Layers or take away the Kepri or something like that from Inbound. If he takes Odin, so be it. How much worse could it get for you at this point?
Give him Odin, take a Wheelish?
No, maybe. I don't know.
At this point, Aggro's ready to hear anything. Maybe even a Hercules jungle?
No, definitely not that.
Well, these teams have fought really hard to get where they're at. Let's take a look at all of the games that we've seen this weekend. Saturday is where we started. We saw RvL win their way to the finals, and the North Americans had to go a different route. Astral beat Revenge, knocked them on out, and then they beat Flashpoint after losing to RvL, and now they find themselves in the grand finals. And as we said, we have what we call a bracket reset.
Now it's a clean slate. Another best of 5. If you woke up from a coma right now, congratulations. You're here for the exact moment where this best of 5 is going to begin.
Also, congratulations on your recent medical success. I'm very happy that you're no longer in a coma. That's going to be a good thing for you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Going forward. So congratulations to all of those viewers that are just coming out of their coma.
Thanks for tuning in.
Right now, the final. That's it. For all of the marbles, we have the final coming up. Go ahead and as Finch likes to say, grab a snack, get a drink, because this is the big show. This is the big kahuna. This is the big enchilada. We'll be back in 10.